Hey, what up, guys? Good morning. Here with Mark Bowell here at perfectgardens.com. So this week's going to be a little bit different on how I'm going to be releasing videos. I normally try to do every other day or every 3 days, depending upon the workload I have. Although this week I'm going to be releasing one video a day. And I'm going to be kind of giving you guys this information based upon, and all this stuff's happened in the last month and a half, 2 months basically. And I've been mentally just trying to figure out how to deal with this. Um, because if if I don't handle this properly, then I'm going to define myself overall as a person, like how I'm going to be approaching problems in the future, because everyone talks, it's a small industry. If they're like, oh, you're having a problem with Mark, this is how to muzzle him. Um, then it's going to circulate around. And if the channel is going to keep growing with there's these metrics online and it shows that by the end of this year, I'll have like 90,000 subscribers, which thank you very much if that ends up happening. And in 5 years, it'll be like at 1.5 million. So if I keep going at this pace, at some point, I'm definitely going to be a pain in someone's ass. Um, and I see I'm a second generation, right? So I don't have to always witness everything. I know my father. My father my parents were really genuinely solid people growing up, and I've witnessed and worked with them from 8 years old and on, and have traveled with them on and off years prior to that. So I've always gotten this opportunity to witness and help them because they've always needed help. Like they've always not haven't been afraid to ask their kids for help. And going through these different life experiences, I have witnessed my father um and my parents just be completely destroyed and fired out of the commercial agriculture for wanting to help the people. And I know that might sound totally crazy, but there it doesn't matter how much you make a corporation. It doesn't matter how much you make a corporation, but literally, I've witnessed this. If you piss off the wrong person at the top, I don't get. He will get rid of you. He will find a way to convince all the other board members, doesn't matter how much you're making them, to get rid of you if you piss off the right person. And just and then just also being able to see after multiple decades of the ramifications, right? Like I pick up a book and it's a random book, it's like maybe a few hundred thousand, maybe 100,000 people might read the book, or 50,000 people might read a book, this type of book. And I'm reading about it and I'm like, holy shit, this problem right here, why people are why people are sick because of the malnutrition in the food. I can go back and relate it to a problem that was in big ag where my father fixed, or he figured out a solution, and that solution wasn't really being allowed to be available in the commercial industry because some prick or some sociopath or psychopath or some dude was trying to make a shitload of money off of a product, and my father figures something out, and he's like, oh, okay, I know what this product actually is. And then that solution ends up getting scaled up. And what I've come to realize is that if you some problems should be more thoughtful. Like if a solution comes to the surface, you should still think about whether that practice or that how you got to that solution is still the right way to do it. Like, is it morally right? There should be a values filter that goes through it, and also a conscious decision whether it's going to actually be a better product for the end consumer. Obviously, we're talking about in the 70s and 80s, so the science and the thought process wasn't really there. It was just getting developed. Silent Spring is just a book I highly recommend. Teaming with Microbes is also another book I highly recommend. Like where do I get my information and where does it stem from where I want to explore more into it. Those two books definitely made me consciously start to think more about problems, and then also reading those books also made me realize some of those problems comes directly from our family. And this is where running into this problem right here with Green Cleaner. They sent me a cease and desist order on one of my product reviews, and it's kind of crazy too because that video only had like 3,500 views. It was age restricted. YouTube was already burying it. You could pull up the metrics. There was barely like one view a month at this point, and he should have just ignored it, 100%, 100%, there's because it was just off my radar. You guys asked me to do a product review. I go on there. I spend a couple hours looking at all the product, like all the chemicals. I try to pull other information from other sources, so it's not coming from me. I'm literally just trying to help you save time, right? I'm a retail store, and that a good retail store is going to give you customer service beyond just selling you a fucking product, man. They're going to actually have some goddamn knowledge. And sorry to use the Lord's name in vain, but they're going to have some knowledge about what they're selling you. And they're going to and if you ask them, if you ask me, you're like, "Hey, Mark, I'm growing actual real tomatoes. I should be able to like know in some level what that crop is going through its different seasons if I'm a retail store in some level, or be able to say, hey, listen, I'm not sure, but let me research something for you and get an answer back to you. And then through that relationship, hopefully a sale happens, right? And then you get a better product, you get more yield, you get a more return on your investment, and then you come back as a customer. And that should be that relationship with businesses. But I don't know. In some level, we've been misled through marketing. Like when I went to the military, I realized that propaganda and marketing are the exact same thing. So I've come to the realization that it's important before you develop even a marketing plan, you have to have core values as a company, and the board of directors have to have similar core values. And I know I'm kind of ranting on this type of stuff, but I just gained an opportunity as now a second generation to kind of witness problems in our society. And uh, still, like, the IRS, man, like, you could Google this shit straight up. Like the IRS was not established to be the business it is today. It was established to free us from slavery, man. Uh, I get irritated because I don't know, like I don't I genuinely smoke to be a better person. Like, I don't want to say it like that because it makes me sound like an addict, but I become a better person actually. Like, I like the outcome of the person I become. And I like the conversations that develop. I like the thoughts that come into my mind. And I don't know, like, how do I not turn around and not want to respect this plant? Like, actually give a shit of how it's grown and understand what it's going through its life cycle, right? Because I only got a few months to do this, right? For each individual plant, and I don't know. In my mind, going through and learn like raising these plants has made me a better father. It's made me a better son. It's made me a better person. Um, And I don't know. I actually just give a shit. So this message is really for commercial growers, straight up. Like, if you're gonna take on the responsibility of growing something and then selling it to a motherfucking end consumer, you should know what's going on in your fucking plants. And if some salesman sells you something, you don't get to pass off the liability, man. You got to embrace that responsibility for making that decision to put it on your plants, because you're going to sell it to someone else, and it's not going through your GI tract, it's going through your lungs, and you're not you're and listen, food is medicine too, man. It's just as important, if not more important than this plant. If you guys haven't heard me, I genuinely think that we like the amount of land that is controlled by the most tiniest of population is crazy, and these guys are one heart attack away from dying. I was talking to my father the other day about, I think it was TNA. I can't remember which one. We were driving past the corporation. I was like, oh, it was dang it. Anyways, he was telling me basically one of the last family members that actually knew anything about growing died, right? And he actually died like 3 4 years ago. And I was like, so who's running the corporation now? And he was like, is any of the other family members running? I was like, no, they're not running any of it. It's just a bunch of board of directors that are running it. And like, so you're telling me you've hired a guy from a corporation that probably hasn't grown a plant to make decisions about what goes on to that plant, and he's looking at a budget sheet versus looking at the overall health of that, what that end product's going to give to their consumers, right? That makes no sense to me. And that corporation, they're so disconnected from knowledge of these plants. They're just like they're still scaling up the SOPs that my parents created, okay, from the 80s. Like, it's insane. Not much stuff has changed. They have only expanded the technology around the ideas and the concepts. That's it. They haven't even they it's kind of funny when you think about it, when you witness these things over decades, right? And as you grow up and you see these things, it's and my point to this is that I think our growers, the growers in this industry, are going to be taking over that land in the next 5 to 10 years. And if all we know is this product, this is what we're going to look for. This is what we're going to look forward to. And if when we turn the product upside up behind the bottle and we say, oh, okay, soybean oil or sodium lauryl sulfate, you're going to be like, okay, how do I find a cheaper product? And then you're going to scale up a bad idea. And that's what I'm trying to talk about. I'm not saying that this is a bad idea overall. I'm saying that this is a bad idea for the herbs, for plants that we're going to be pulling essential oils off of it, and we're going to be going down this product line of getting these essential oils and reinfusing them back into other products where other people are going to consume. And you could go onto YouTube, check out all the different documentaries where literally because they don't test the food, we're literally walking around with pesticides in our body, tons of pesticides. And they did a couple. I wish I knew the name. I just watched something. I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. I don't even go back and I need to write these names down. But they did an experiment where after like a month, they someone not eating commercialized foods and getting food from an organic farm that didn't have pesticides, the amount of pesticides that after blood tests reduced like 50 or 60%. That is insane. And I hope to God through the scrutiny that we're putting these plants through to produce them, because all these farmers have to go through pharmaceutical testing, okay, pharmaceutical level testing, because we decided to make this plant legal through the medical industry, which is really funny, like, oh, it's medicine, we could do what we want, and they're like, oh, it's medicine, all right, I'm gonna put the same restrictions I put on you as a pharmaceutical lab. Like, okay, so you're expecting there to be no plant problems while out there in the field. All right, that puts a whole nother level of like due diligence on these levels of growers. Like the level of growers that are going to come out of this industry are going to be the best farmers and most knowledgeable farmers. I think the in the last 100 years. I mean, ever up to this point. It actually does depends whether you believe in the flat Earth theory or you believe in the heliocentric model. Anywhere from ever before or in the last 200 years, these farmers are going to be the best, most intelligent farmers and are going to comprehend what's going on. So when they take over the land to produce food, we got an opportunity to recreate the agricultural industry with good solutions that are going to produce medicine, food, and herbs across the board. We're going to share good knowledge and we're going to be able to point people in the right direction that our kids are going to be healthier, or we're going to once again scale up bad ideas. And I don't want to say bad ideas, just ideas that are less productive. I hate the word bad or good. Less productive, more productive. Is there a more productive decision that we can make today that can have ramifications in the future? The butterfly effect is what I'm discussing. I'm not sure, guys. I don't even know if Perfect Gardens is going to exist next year. If you guys have been my clients for the last few years, I actually just stopped Ubering the last year and a half. You know what I mean? So just because of your guys' support, I've been Ubering for the last 5 years because I've been done with this industry. I hate it. I hate these people. I've only bring on one deal at a time that it's either going to change my life or I'm not going to touch it. Like, I'm not going to put my energy and powers into anything that shouldn't exist anymore. And every single time I've done that, I have actually ended up regretting my decisions because I ended up teaming up with sociopaths and psychopaths, or I end up using my powers and finessing a deal that should not have went through. And that's what creates regret and shame, and makes you have a life, makes you not like, makes you want to stop and just like, okay, not gonna do this shit anymore. And yeah, that's my fucking point, guys. Is I guess through this point I'm asking if you guys are leaning on being a membership, the 299, all that money I promise you will be put on to like a quarterly budget sheet. I'm going to make a live sheet, because to properly go through a lawsuit, it's going to cost 35 to roughly $50,000. So I mean, to really go from the whole like process. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to record everything. I'm going to go against my lawyer's wishes. I'm going to release every single step. I'm going to explain everything. You're going to have the knowledge from $500 hour lawyers straight up um that are going to give you guys knowledge, that are going to help navigate your own decisions through this industry. And I'm going to run my company and run other companies that want to challenge me and my thought process, my own fucking opinion. Like, if I have not fought for my goddamn right to have a goddamn, I'm sorry, gosh darn opinion, like, what do I have to do? You know what I mean? I think I've done enough to be able to have an opinion. And if you don't like it, unsubscribe. And um, but it's gonna cost that, and I wanted to run it through, and I'm want to share all this information with you guys so that you guys know what it's gonna take. If you ever end up going through a legal lawsuit with anyone, and you're gonna know the steps. I'm gonna explain these things that are going to even once again devalue the legal industry, right? Like, if you need a lawyer, I'm gonna walk you through these things so it doesn't cost you $35,000. It's gonna cost you $5,000 to get through a problem next time. And you're going to see whether I'm right or wrong. Are you allowed to and you're going to see this. You're going to see in the next few videos I release in the next few days when I drip them out, like, there's like this green color that separates out. And you're going to learn about the EPA 25B list, that once you get approved, you're going to know all the regulation. I'm going to walk you through all these things over the next year, obviously, while providing you all the other information, like questions, whatever. And yeah, guys, I hope through this process we all make better decisions. And I have this belief structure that sometimes a few businesses have to burn down to find the golden nuggets. And if Perfect Gardens has to be one of those companies that burns down through this process, so I can pick up the one golden nugget at the end of the fire, I'm gonna pick it up and we'll restart again. That's how shit works. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the support, and I'm just kind of going to change the video makeup this week, and we'll go back to a regular rhythm the following week. Thank you so much, and have a great grow, guys. Peace out.